name is Stephen Taylor. This is for Dr. Odom's Discipleship Design class. This is the Discipleship Design presentation. In order to implement a discipleship design, one of the first things you need to do is understand the biblical rationale for why we want a discipleship program. When you look in the Old Testament, a word study of the Old Testament gives Isaiah 8:16. It says, "Bind up the testimony, seal the teaching among my disciples." And the Hebrew root here is limud, which translates pupil, taught, or trained. And in this particular verse, the writer is encouraging the reader to fear not as the people fear, but to fear the Lord. The author is alluding to the coming Messiah. The Messiah waits 600 to 700 years to make himself known. In verses 16 and 17, God gives Isaiah 3 instructions. The first instruction is to remember the testimony of those that are faithful. The second instruction is to teach the law among the disciples. And finally, the third instruction is to wait on the Lord. When you look in the New Testament, you find several more uses of the word disciple. In fact, it occurs 274 times if you do a word search on it. And the word disciple occurs 82 times in John, 76 times in Matthew, 46 times in Mark, 38 times in Luke, and finally 32 times in the book of Acts. When you see the word disciple in the New Testament, you can see it in 4 different forms. The first form is mathetes. The second form is matheatio, semanthetes, and Methetria. And these occur at different places throughout the New Testament. But the greatest commandment that we have for making a disciple is found in Matthew chapter 28, 18 through 22. And it says, "Go therefore make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey all that I have commanded." And so we are called to be disciple makers, and in order to do that, we need to have a program or a way to train up disciples as they come along. And so the way we're going to do it with our children here at my church, we actually break down the groups, babies through 1s, 2 years old, 3 and 4 year olds, 5-year-olds, kindergarten through 2nd grade, 3rd through 6th grade, youth, college, young adults, middle adults, and senior adults. Now, the group we're going to be looking at for this presentation is the children's group, which would be kindergarten through 2nd grade and 3rd through 6th grade. And kind of what we're going to do there is our main goal with this particular group is that we want to discuss facts, doctrine, and biblical principles. And we're going to do this in a classroom environment. The curriculum that we're going to use is going to be a Lifeway's Gospel Project. It ranges about $288 for 12 weeks. So annually, that's going to be about $1,200. And that's going to include optional snacks and optional materials that you want to use. In a classroom setting, the Gospel Project material does use technology. So if you want to use technology, you can do that. If you don't want to use technology, you can actually read the Bible story material that is pre-printed for the teachers. Ideally, we want a 3-to-1 ratio, which is recommended. However, that's going to be based on your volunteers. You don't want to be any lower than a 5-to-1 ratio. So for every 5 students, you have 1 teacher. For kindergarten through 2nd grade, ideally 3-to-1. And even 3rd through 6th grade, if you can get 3-to-1, it's going to be based on classroom setting. For us, we want 20 students. Okay, that's going to be the ideal setting. 20 students is going to give 4 to 7 volunteers. And the main methodology that we're going to use is the presentation of main points with stations to emphasize those main points. Okay, so you may have a coloring section where you talk about the Bible story, and then the kids color a picture that goes with the Bible story. Another station may be a kinesthetic learning. You may be clapping to the beat of a song or jumping up and down, doing jumping jacks while you say a verse. And so they're going to employ many different types of learning into this curriculum so that these kids can maintain and hold on to this. So, like for example, my daughter is dyslexic, so reading is not going to be the best means of learning for her. She's going to learn through music, kinesthetic learning, and things such as that. And how we're gonna evaluate is we're gonna evaluate by asking questions at the end. We're gonna ask them a series of questions to see how they respond. And ideally, you want them to respond with the correct answer in the correct way. But we're gonna questions with verbal actions or physically pointing if language skills have not quite developed. By this point, by kindergarten through second grade, their language skills and their ability to read should be coming on. And so you'll have to read out these questions and then wait for them to respond and give them just a little bit to respond so that they can think through it. This is going to occur on Sundays, 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. It's a 1-hour program. The material is plenty enough for a teacher or volunteer to go through the material. The space is going to be 25 square feet per person. This is based on Lifeway. You can look up Lifeway's recommendations for spacing. They recommend 25 square feet per student. So if we do 20 students and 7 volunteers, the space we're going to need is going to be about 885 square feet, which is going to be a large size room. Not quite as big as a gymnasium, but maybe a fellowship hall or something like that. If you're going to have kindergarten through second grade in one group and then third through sixth grade in one group, like I say, ideally you don't want to be any more than about 20 students and 7 volunteers for one group, one space. And so we're going to break that down, kindergarten through second grade and third through sixth grade, to have 2 groups of that. So that averages about 40 students and 14 adults. Thank you.